also wanted to talk today about, I've done a vlog on how a TikTok on how knowing your man's moon sign can really help you uncover whether this is going to be a good relationship. So say you've just started dating, or you're eyeing up some different prospects on one of the dating apps. If you find out the guy's moon sign, which is quite easy, you could probably use a chat bot or something like that, but I've recommended a website. It really puts you on the right track, because at least you'll be knowing from the get-go whether you guys are going to be compatible emotionally and harmonious when you get together long term. Will you cooperate on the domestic level? Because once the kind of fun of the dating, the romance, and the going out is over, you're eventually moving to that next stage, which is moving in together, or marriage, or even creating a family. And then that's when you really need to know that your moon and suns are compatible, because if they're really not, that is going to be when you find out. So knowing that up front can help you know whether you're going to hit those hurdles later in the day. But the other important thing is knowing a guy's Venus sign. And, that's also quite easy. You just can write in to Google or whatever, find out my Venus sign, and give you various links to sites, and then you find out a guy's Venus sign. And it's really helpful if your sun sign is the same as his Venus sign, because or your ascendant sign is the same as his Venus sign, because then at least you know that there are characteristics within you guys that will create a lot of mutual respect and admiration. Because when your Venus sign is the same as, or a guy's Venus sign is the same as your sun sign, he immediately sees something special in you. You stand out from the crowd to him. So in a situation as well where you're internet dating, you feel there's lots of competition out there, it would be really helpful to know his Venus sign, because immediately you understand whether you're ahead of the pack. It's also really good if your sun is opposite to his Venus sign. So opposite signs would be Aries, Libra, Taurus, Scorpio, Cancer, Capricorn, Gemini, Sag, Aquarius, Leo, and Virgo, Pisces. So if you have your sun and Venus in opposite signs, that's also helpful, because that indicates it's a good teamwork relationship, it's cooperative. But here's the issue. If his Venus sign is in the same sort of fixed, because you have the fixed signs, if you don't know your astrology too well, you have the fixed signs, the mutable signs, and the cardinal signs. So the cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And we've already said that if his Venus sign is, say, for example, you're in Aries and his Venus is in Aries or in Libra, that's good, right? But if his Venus is in the other cardinal signs, which is Cancer and Capricorn, now there can be some problems. There can be problems with jealousy, passive aggression. One partner is always going to feel that they're not getting their needs met or enough out of the relationship. And there can also be a conflict in terms of what the one partner values, needs from life, and their love language to the other partner. So it's going to be much harder for you to feel both to feel satisfied. One will always feel they're missing out, and maybe the other one feels that they can do no right, and whatever they do isn't appreciated. So you have this clash of love languages where what one wants to give is not necessarily what the other wants to receive, or you always suffering a mismatch in terms of not being able to find things that you both really want to spend your time doing or invest in. And so it's really helpful if you're opposite. So, for example, if you're one of the fixed signs, that's Taurus, Scorpio. The Taurus-Scorpio axis is good, but then when you're mixing either the Taurus Sun or Venus with the Aquarius or the Leo, that's not so good. And then if we look at the mutable signs, you've got your Gemini, Sag, so any interplay there between Sun and Venus is good. But if you're crossing that over and you've got one of you's got a Virgo and a Pisces, that's also a drain. It's going to be a constant source of slowing up momentum of the relationship. And, the various other Venus placements can gel quite well. But the basic one that really works is when the guy's got Venus in his Venus is the same as your sun, or in the sign opposite your sun. So for example, if we take an example of some Venuses, Venus represents the things people like doing, right? The things make people happy. values and therefore what they're going to value and put value on in their life. Venus is also the person's love language, and it's the kind of traits they'll be attracted to in a partner, what they find attractive. And that's why it helps, obviously, if you're going to have the same sun sign. So if you're an Aries and he's got Venus in Aries, he's predisposed to like the fact that you're assertive, quite energetic, that you're a go-getter, that you're an independent, spirited person, but that you're also quite kind, warm-hearted, honest, upfront. These are naturally things he appreciates, being a man with Venus in Aries. If he's a man with Venus in Taurus, he definitely wants an attractive woman. And it helps if you have a nice voice. He'd probably turn on by accents and things like that because you're listening for the voice. Also helps if you like making money and enjoying the finer things in life. If you love fine food, enjoy music, because Venus in Taurus is very much about music. So the guy's bound to be a big record collection and wants to talk about music, you know, but always understand he wants an exclusive relationship. He wants a partner who's solid, who's loyal, because otherwise he can feel very disappointed. So he's looking for someone reliable who gives him strong messages of appreciation and who's also quite diplomatic and laid back, right, and has a good sense of humor. Then if a guy's got his Venus in Gemini, he's naturally a social creature. So he doesn't want a partner who's going to want to stay at home all the time. He likes a partner who likes to be out in the town, who likes to have friends and is going to like his friends as well. He doesn't want to have his wings clipped. He enjoys talking and communicating as a love language. So it's not very good if you are a very inhibited person verbally. You really need to be able to chat about things and talk about love in a logical way and plan for your future. And you need to like a little bit of variety in life as well. Now, Venus in Cancer is a person who really values family life. So you need to like his family. He should ideally like your family. He should know that you're fairly traditional in your values. You kind of probably put off by anything that's too bohemian because, as I say, a little bit conservative. And also he wants a relationship where there is a lot of emotional interplay, almost poetic understanding, where things are sensitive, where he's able to talk about deeper needs and feelings. He always needs the relationship to be going deeper and deeper to keep him satisfied. Can be quite needy as well. And he also loves to entertain at home. He's going to want a beautiful home. He'll like decorating because these things are important to him. Now, a person with Venus in Leo, guy with Venus in Leo, he wants someone a bit unusual, someone who's got a bit of a wow factor. So we're looking here for the X factor, right? So you need to be someone who is fairly confident and also very positive. He is attracted to people who give off a vibe that's bubbly and effervescent. So anyone that's very controlled or very strict or perhaps too mature could be someone that Leo guy is a little bit wary of. He also likes someone who's very expressive. He wants you to be quite on all the time. He doesn't deal well with long periods of silence or distance, and he does want loyalty. And he also wants to be protective of you, but you've got to protect him too. He wants to know that you care and you stand up for him and fight for him. Now, Venus in Virgo can be quite a fusspot, and these people, men with Venus in Virgo, are hard to nab. They're quite happy to be single. They like their own company. They like doing their own thing. They're very, very private people, and it can be difficult for them to be in a relationship with someone who posts a lot on socials and displays their relationship all over the show. He is cautious in relationships. It takes you a long time to win his trust and respect. Once you've won it, that's great, but it's fragile, it can be broken. He also does not stay in a relationship when the feeling's gone for him. So it's very hard to repair a relationship with Venus and Virgo guy. Got to sort of keep it going with them. Similar to Gemini, because it's a Mercury ruled sign. He loves to talk problems through in a rational way, cannot stand relationships that are chaotic or with a lot of aggression. And he tends to shy away from people. He loves a modest woman. He loves a woman who is understated and clever. So he's really aiming for smarts. Now, man with Venus in Libra he's a creative guy, and he is drawn to women who dress well, who are very polite, who are diplomatic, who accessorize well. So you really have to pay attention to your looks and your smell. He's got a very keen sense of smell, and he wants to know that you, smell amazing. That's really good for him. And he also wants harmonious relationship. He cannot stand people who cause a lot of drama and fuss or embarrass him in public. Doesn't want anyone that's going to threaten his equilibrium either. Because although Libra are the scales and balance, they easily go out of kilter. So they don't like partners who throw curveballs, give them a lot of mixed messages or surprises. He likes consistency. So good looks, consistency, and the ability to weigh up pros and cons. And he hates extremes. So he doesn't want someone who, wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater, that kind of thing. Now, Scorpio, Venus is a sexual being. Men with Venus in Scorpio must have chemistry. He has to feel it from an animal level. He must be passionate for you. He easily falls in love at first sight. And once he's fallen in love with you, he'll stick with you through thick and thin. He is bound to have relationships with themes like Shakespearean that are dramatic, that have incredible highs and incredible lows, but he almost thrives in that environment. So he is not put off by difficult relationships. He's not put off by people with a past. He's intrigued. The more mysterious you are, the more you've had a crazy background, the more you very unusual or enigmatic, the more he's drawn in. So you don't want to lay it all on the table with him and be too obvious, be too previous, be too bland. He likes it when it's complicated, right? So Venus in Sagittarius man's looking for an adventurous spirit in a woman. His sort of image of a woman is the horse-riding, fit woman racing across the plains. He likes someone who wants to grab life by the scruff of the neck, gets impatient with women who are a bit slow to show their feelings. You've got to show warmth, got to show a bit of intelligence, you've got to engage him in an intellectual way, got to get him a bit excited. You've got to be willing to fly by the seat of your pants. He hates anything too predictable, right? So he's definitely looking for a woman with a bit of a wild side who is keen to really live life, who wants to grab opportunities. So you don't want to be too conservative, stuck in your ways, or possessive. That's what he really doesn't like. He wants someone with a bit of flexibility that's not going to, get a long face or whine when things don't go their way. He's got no time for whining and whinging. Venus in Capricorn guy is looking for a go-getter, a businesswoman, someone with smarts, someone who's savvy, someone who's wise, determined, and perceptive. He's fussy about women. He wants to aim high. He likes to marry up. He's ambitious. He wants a partner who's also ambitious and wants to go places. He sees himself as being quite entrepreneurial, having a great future ahead of him, and he either wants someone, if he's late in life, who's made something of himself, or who wants to. He also wants to see constant improvement in you, but he needs someone who's sensitive to his needs and kind. He cannot deal with a hard case or someone who's going to, continually upset him or criticize and undermine. He doesn't want criticism. He needs to be boosted. He needs his morale to be boosted. He needs someone who is sensitive enough to his needs without him spelling it out. So his love language is quite understated. He needs you to interpret. So you need to be quite psychic to be with a Capricorn Venus guy. Venus in Aquarius is a bit of a hippie guy. He's bohemian. He is a bit insecure, but on the other hand, he's very personable. He's amiable, likes to talk to a lot of people. He gets on with people from all walks of life. What he's really looking for is someone who is even a little bit kooky, a little bit different, and someone with a lot of chutzpah and confidence, because he wants someone that can take him out of himself into different worlds and expand his perspectives all the time. So he needs a kind of person who is always pushing the boundaries, who's very curious about life, who enjoys, chatting about things, but who can also be alluring and sexually appealing to him, because he wants that sexual side as well. He also needs a bit of that chemistry. So with Aquarius Venus guys, the chemistry a lot, but also the intellectual. So you've got to bring both in. He's interested in your looks and but he doesn't necessarily like conventional good looks. You don't have to be good looking with Venus in Aquarius guy, but you have to be intriguing looking. So even if you're not great, you haven't got the most amazing natural good looks, if you can do interesting things with your makeup, with your hair, have wonderful fragrances on, all these things are very captivating to him. He loves out the different relationships, like massive age gaps, long distance, different cultures, different religions. None of that's going to put him off. That's all great for him. So that's perfect. And lastly, Venus in Pisces. Now, Venus is exalted in Pisces. It's a strong position of Venus. It's a romantic. This guy is quite idealistic about love. He wants to fall in love for love's sake. He is incredibly compassionate when truly in love and kind, but hurt him, he's very bitchy. But when he's absolutely in love, he believes in all the themes of love. He wants to regale you with poetry, read you prose, write poetry for you, write songs for you. It's another music-loving sign. This is a guy who enjoys the whole thing about going to movies and events and having cultural experiences. You can really enjoy life dating a Pisces guy because he loves doing the different sorts of things and he likes to be out on the town. For him, the new out is not in. It's always out. He doesn't really like to be at home. But he also doesn't want someone who is incredibly regimented because that'll stifle his free spirit. He likes someone who's a bit spontaneous and where life is always a little bit of a surprise. He doesn't like to fall into patterns. So he's not going to do too well with the signs who like their life to be very tick box. He also needs someone who sees the bigger picture and has a spiritual side because he's not naturally materialistic. He wants to buy into being a soulmate, a twin flame. He really wants to believe that there is something other than this basic existence. He probably doesn't get on with someone who's like a out and out atheist, an evolutionist, a Big Bang Theory person who doesn't really believe that there's anything else, because belief is very important to Pisces guys. Always got to have it. Always got to have this belief in something brighter, bigger. There's an optimist in him, a creative in him, and he needs you to love that creative side. He doesn't respond to conflict, pressure, ultimatums at all. That'll just put him right off because he is generally a free-spirited person. So he's looking also to be with a creative kind of woman, someone who is not only creative, doesn't have to be an artist or a singer or anything, but they should enjoy the arts. They should be creative in their way they live their life. Doesn't matter if they're a bit chaotic, doesn't matter if they're a bit kooky. That is also going to draw him in. So that's a little rundown of what men with the different Venus signs are like, what they'd like in a relationship, and if you match well with them, kind of thing. When I mention sun signs, obviously, if you know your ascendant, and his Venus sign is in the opposite sign to your ascendant, perfect. Sometimes when you have an ascendant and his Venus is on your ascendant, can mean unrequited love, where one of you is far more interested than the other. So that's a little bit of something to watch out for. Well, it's like first live I've done in a while. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope any of you who like watching me will have a look at some of my videos. I've done an enormous variety of stuff. It's whatever. I mean, there's some music-y ones. There's some text ones with music, with different information. I've talked about moon signs. I've talked about horoscopes. I talk about like major planetary conjunctions and how they might affect world events or us personally. And like I say, I do a bit of tarot. So I've put out enormous range of different type of content that may interest you, even if you're only mildly to very interested in astrology. It's Lisa Lazuli, and if you want to know more, I'm always free to answer a question on here. It's really cool. I don't know, I haven't mastered yet watching how many of you are checking me out though, but I am going to have a look afterwards and get back to you. And oh, hi Lotus, I'm so glad you like my work. Hey, great. Thank you all you guys who are joining. Yeah, Crazy Kid the Game and Julia, thank you guys. I can see your messages on there. Kwabana, Ohin, thank you very much. Jan, yeah, really appreciate guys. Still fairly new I'm not new to TikTok, but I'm new to really, making the most of it kind of thing. So anyway, I'm going to log off now and I hope you enjoyed it. And my love to you all. The week's going to be improving, as I said. Been really dull the last few days, hasn't it? So let's look forward to more and lots more coming on my TikTok tomorrow. Not live, but some pre-records.